Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast is number 1382. The topic is mindset and the title is There Will Never Be More Time. So I wanted to talk through today, without me getting all grumpy, which I often do, is just the concept of feeling like there's not enough time to get things done. One of the reasons why I do sometimes get grumpy is people will come to me because they want something different out of their life, but they're unwilling to do anything different in their life. So they want to be healthier, but they don't want to change anything about what they're doing. They just want what they're doing to somehow make them healthier. And I'm like, I don't know what magical powers you think I have. I can't click my fingers and all of a sudden, skipping breakfast and eating fast food will all of a sudden give you six-pack abs. You do have to make some changes. I wish it was easier. I would use it myself. I'd be freaking professional at something. But that is unfortunately what commonly happens is people say, I want XYZ to change, but then they're not willing to change. And the number one reason why people aren't willing to change is because they say they don't have enough time to change. So, I need you to, one of the ways in which you could lose body fat would be to eat breakfast. Well, I don't have time for breakfast. Well, make time. I don't control the answers. I just know what they are. I don't get to determine what they are. Does that make sense? So I know what it takes to lose body fat. I know what it takes to build strength, to build muscle, to become more athletic, to whatever your goals are. I know what it takes to do that, but I can't change that. I can't, for you, I understand you're special, so therefore you don't need breakfast. Then it's crap, I'm sorry. I can help you figure out how to fit breakfast into your life. I can help you figure out what foods you might like, how to make it more convenient, where does it fit within your schedule. I can help with a lot of things, but I can't just make that necessary requirement disappear. I can't alleviate you from having to actually do it. And what I wanted to talk today is just that mindset of around not enough time. I 100% understand that everyone is overwhelmed. The only people I talk to who are not overwhelmed, time-wise, and this is kind of funny, I'm checking myself as I'm saying it, because if you ask them, they would say they are. But as you get kind of later in life, and I know the teenage me would have said, shut up and you're full of crap and, you don't know me and blah, blah, blah. But as a teenager, you have a lot more openness to your schedule. Even in college, you have a lot more openness to your schedule. Now, I worked through college. I had part-time jobs and stuff, but there was still more free time than what there seems to be now. So as you get into, whatever stage of your life, whatever age that is, where you have responsibilities to other people, plus financial pressure, plus, kind of the normal crap of life where you have to renew your auto insurance and then you have to go get an eye exam and you have to do all this stupid crap. It gets in the way of what you really want to do in life. So everybody at different stages, whether we think so or not, they are going to perceive themselves as not having enough time. That, however, can't be just the end of it. If you say I want to, let's just say you want to get healthier. So maybe you have diabetes and you're well, this doesn't look like it'll be a good thing if I just leave this unchecked. I can't just say, well, I don't have time to check this. I don't have time to do anything about this, so I'm just not going to do it, because then you're still going to have the consequences of diabetes, right? Well, if you say you want to lose weight, but you don't do anything because you don't have time to do it, well, then you're never going to lose weight. Same with getting stronger, same with building muscle. Someday, what you want to do in the future will no longer be possible. Someday will become today, which will then become tomorrow. So at some point, you're either going to have to decide, do I want to make room in my life for the new efforts to reach this new result, or just never do it? It's unfortunate, but that day does come and pass. That, it comes and goes. Someday will eventually be yesterday. there was a client I used to work with. He was, I think in his late 60s. And he was telling me about, like, he wanted to get bigger arms. And it was, it's awesome. I love when people have goals. I don't care what their age is. But he's like, I want to really get, like, maybe, like, 18, 20-inch arms. He's pretty, like, kind of wiry dude. It would have been a lot of work and a lot of food to get him there. Just, like, kind of that old grizzled type body type. But he was telling me all this, and I remember he would do, like, a set of effort, and he would stop 2 or 3 reps short of, like, true failure. And then he'd want to talk for, like, 8 minutes about getting bigger arms. And then he would do another set of, like, 10, but, like, not really push himself. Then he'd talk for another 10 minutes about building his arms. And I remember I literally told him, I said his first name, because I wanted to get his attention. And I forget exactly how old he was. I'm just going to say 65. So I said, like, I'll just use my name. So that way, it's about, so I don't say his name. But I said, Rob, you're 65. You're talking about someday, but someday is yesterday. At 65, you don't have any more some days. You have today, and that's about it. Now, he took it well, but that kind of sparked us into, like, really hyperdrive, trying to eat some food and, really be more serious with his training in the sessions whenever we weren't together. Now, unfortunately, him and his wife and kids, they ran into some issues, so, like, financial issues and whatnot, so he wasn't able to make that goal. But that was still something that stood in my mind, being, at the time, I think I was like mid-30s. And I remember thinking to myself is, here's this dude in his 60s talking about what he wants to do someday. But I'm like, dude, like, you don't got any more somedays. Like, what someday are you looking at? Because all your days seem to be behind you at this point. You have more behind you than you have ahead of you. And that's sad, but that's true. And I remember just, like, kind of a younger version being like, dude, you better, like, like, get moving. As they say, bleep or get off the pot. It's like, if you say you want this, which you've been saying it forever, and you're saying it forever right now, if you say you want this, man, you better get busy. Like, what are you doing? There is a lot less time left than you think. And that's something that has always stood out in my mind. And I'm only 38 now, which is still young, but it's also getting to where, I'm getting more and more days behind me. Not necessarily more behind me than ahead of me, hopefully, but that ratio is getting a lot more even out than what I'd want. So that's something I always think to myself is, if I say I want something, I can't then also say I don't have time. Because it's not about time. And that's what I wanted to get across in today's podcast. I just ranted. I didn't actually read anything off my outline so far, and we're like 10 minutes in. But that's what I want to get across in today's podcast is, it's not about time. When you say you don't have time, it's not about time. You're looking at the wrong thing. Now, there's like laws of life. Okay? So there's one called Parkinson's Law, which says work will expand to fill the time allotted for its completion. So what that kind of means is whatever time you have will always be filled. There is always more to do than you have time to do it in. When we say, like, I want more time, you physically, like literally, cannot get more time. What you might mean is, I want some of the burdens and stresses that are on me to get off. And then all of a sudden I'll have time that was dedicated to those things that I can now dedicate to this new thing. Well, those things, the things that are stressed on us that kind of always get in the way, they don't ever go away. They will never go away. That's going to be depressing. You're going to have to just accept this. But the crap that you have to do in life never goes away. Ever. Never. Literally, like, just, we all have to accept this right now, is that crap will get in the way of what you want to do always. Always. So this tells me it's not time that I need to modify. It's what I'm doing with my time. And there's another law called Wolff's Law, which says that the body adapts to its stressors. So if I put a little bit of stress in my body, it builds up and adapts to it. This is why we lift weights, right? So if I want to get stronger in squats, I squat what I can now to a stressful amount, and then my body gets stronger, and all of a sudden I can squat more. But if I want to squat more than that, I have to, again, stress my body. It responds to the stress, and all of a sudden I can squat more. So Wolff's Law says our body adapts to its stressors. That's great, but the counter of that is also true, is our body atrophies to the lack of stress. So if I don't stress myself, I don't stay the same, I actually atrophy. I downgrade, I regress. So what I can handle lessens over time if I don't push myself to handle more. So the reason why I'm mentioning Parkinson's Law and Wolff's Law is because these are things that I have found to be very motivational in my life. So to me, Wolff's Law tells me I don't want an easy life. I want a meaningful one. And those are very different. Easy equals atrophy. So if I only do what's easy, my body eventually finds easy to be difficult. Yeah, that's true. So stick with me here. But easy equals atrophy. That's what Wolff's Law tells us. The body adapts to stressors. So if we stress our body progressively, it adapts progressively. If we don't stress our body at all, it atrophies, and then what we were doing before becomes stressful. And then I have to do even less. That's not good. So easy equals atrophy. As I atrophy, what was once easy, what was once kind of manageable, it now feels hard because it's the hardest thing I'm doing. So if I want to get away from things feeling hard, I have to do even less. That leads to me continuously downgrading the challenges of my life. I have to do less in order to run away from things feeling hard. If I'm doing less, that means I'm doing less forward progressive things because they were challenging. So that's not going to be good. That's not going to be the life that I want, where I have to continually do less and less and less and less and less, because then I also have less and less and less and less meaning. So both of these concepts tell us if you search for an easy life by trying to do less hard things, you're going to have a meaningless life. If you search for more time, you'll never find it. You cannot literally create more time. So if you're going to be constantly looking for things to get easier, constantly looking to have more time, you'll never feel like you found either of them, and you will continually regress in your life. Your life will just become more and more unhappy, and you will become further and further away from your best self, your true potential. So if you look for an easy life and you constantly look for more time, you will have a miserable life. You can never find a consistent easy because Wolff's Law says our body regresses to the stresses that we put on it. So what was easy today will all of a sudden become kind of medium and then become hard. And then you'll have to go to easier again. So you'll never find a consistent easy. You'll have to continue to make things easier. And you'll never find more time because your time will always get filled with crap. That's what Parkinson's Law says. So you'll do less and less and less, but it'll still get filled and filled and filled. So again, you'll be unhappy and you'll be regressing away from your best self, your true potential. So what's the alternative? What gives us a sense of happiness? What gives us a chance to become our best selves? Well, doing what's most important regardless of the challenge. And managing what we do to the best of our abilities, not to do less, but to ensure that what we do has meaning and that we're consistently trying to become more efficient in what we're doing so we can add even more. We want to take advantage of Wolff's Law in the good way. So what will make you happy is having meaning to your life, having purpose. Like what you do each day feels like it's meaningful. It has a purpose. There's a reason to do it. There's a reason to get up. There's a reason to do things. That's what makes you happy. If you don't have a reason to being alive, you're going to be very unhappy. And what gives you the chance to become your best self? Again, meaning in life. Having a purpose, having a reason, because that's motivation. When you have a goal and the actions to achieve that goal conflict with your current life, how often does that happen, right? So I have a goal, but I have to eat differently to achieve that goal. I have a goal, but I have to find time to exercise to achieve that goal. I have a goal, but I have to change my current life to achieve that goal. No shit. Duh. How the hell does that surprise anybody? Your current life isn't producing that result. Otherwise, you wouldn't have it as a goal, you'd have it as an accomplishment. You'd already have it. So if you have a goal and the actions to achieve that goal conflict with your current life, no shit. Don't be surprised by that. How the hell would you be surprised by that? Expect it. You will have to alter your current life to make room for new actions to achieve a new result. We hear that and we're like, oh yeah, makes sense. But yet again, if you tell me you want to lose weight and I tell you probably got to eat a breakfast, then your answer is blah, 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 as in whatever the hell the reason is that you're not eating, but currently eating a breakfast. Okay. Like if you've identified why you don't currently eat a breakfast, that's helpful in the sense that we now know what to address. If you weren't eating breakfast because you just didn't have any food available in your house, well, go shopping. If you weren't eating breakfast because you got up at the very last minute and you don't have time before work, grow up. Get up a little bit earlier. Get up 5, 10, 15 minutes earlier. It's not going to kill you. Just become a little more disciplined in life. And if you're like, screw you to tell me that I need to be more disciplined, you don't know what I'm going through, blah, 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 blah. So you can fight to keep the life you have now. Go for it. Argue with me. Fight to keep it. Congratulations, you get to keep it. Feel like a winner? Probably not. And again, I'm not the one making the rules. Like, I have to deal with all this stuff too. If you have a goal, your current life isn't producing that because otherwise you'd already achieve it, right? So you do have to make changes to your current life. You will have to alter what you do. There's no way around it. And we shouldn't expect anything else. If I want to drive to my neighbor's house, I have to get in my car. Not neighbor's house. Let's say I want to drive to the beach. Maybe you don't live at the beach. The beach is 3 hours away. I want to go to the beach, okay? I want to go to the beach. I have to get in my car and drive. So when I say I go to the beach, I understand getting in the car and driving to the beach is part of that process. So if I say I want to, lose body fat, then eating different foods is part of that process. If I want to get stronger, then training in maybe a different way is going to be part of that process. If I want to get bigger muscles, if I want to get better athletics, whatever the hell it is that you want, you're going to have to do something different than what you're doing now. That shouldn't be a surprise. I'm not surprised I have to get in my car to drive to the beach. Are you surprised that you have to change your current actions to achieve a new result? You shouldn't be. You will have to alter your current life to make room for new actions. And the key word in that statement is room. You have to modify what you currently do to make room for more. You can't just add. You're likely added up. You've added as much as you can get. There is no more room to add. It's like you're playing a game of Tetris and you're like 1 block away from the ceiling, right? You're like, I don't have space for nothing. That's probably true. That's very likely true for most people listening to this, is you're probably maxed out. You're trying to flip those pieces like a crazy person every day, right? So you likely can't add, or at least not right away. So you have to focus on making room. Then, as you learn the new actions and they become kind of less resourceful draining, like they don't require as much willpower. Maybe you found a way to do it in 15 minutes instead of 30 minutes. So as it drains less of your resources and becomes more efficient, you can then bring back some of the old stuff that you had to kind of like put on pause. That you want the benefit of that old stuff, but you had to put it on pause to make room for those new things so the new things can become kind of a part of your normal routine. So I have a client, for example. She has a husband, kids, full-time job, and she's starting to go back to grad school. Before grad school, whenever the days were like the best, meaning like no extra appointments, no extra kid activities, the one day a month, if that's actually true. But like when it was rare, but when there was nothing that came like onto her, like above her normal routine, she could fit in 20, 30-minute workouts in the morning, and she had mental capacity to make specific food choices pretty good, say about half the meals of the day. So she could kind of think to herself, does this meal contain enough protein? Am I supposed to eat right now, even though I'm busy, so maybe I'm going to slow down, take a minute, find something to put in my face. She could make those better choices about half the time. So then, when you add grad school to the mix, boom, the world drops. Training and healthy eating decisions are gone. It's survival mode. We've all been there. You might be there right now. You might just be living there. But it's survival mode. She's keeping her spouse and her kids in check. She's maintaining her job. She hasn't got fired yet. Good for her. She's doing the best she can. But what about training? Is she training? Nope. Feels too tired and there's not enough time. Is she eating healthy? Nope. Feeling too tired and there's not enough time. But since she's not exercising and she's not eating healthier, then she's going to feel even more too tired. It's just going to make it worse. She's going to have even less energy. Everything's going to ache and kind of hurt a little bit. So her default is just straight up not eat. Like she might get 1,000 calories a day and maybe 40, 50 grams of protein. Those are like, I don't even know, like 60% of what she needs. So she's not doing those things that are just going to make her feel more too tired. And what's happening with her time? Because she removed training and healthy eating choices, did she get more time to do the other things? No. No. Remember Parkinson's law? She removed things, but more shit just went right in its place. Other things would fill whatever time there was. Does she really not have, like, say, 10 minutes a day to do some body weight, exercises? No, she has it. Does she really not have the mental capacity to choose different foods when she's presented with multiple options? No, she has it. She has the time to do those things because time hasn't changed. Time doesn't change. Time is the exact same damn thing it is all the time. Time doesn't change. She just doesn't have these things prioritized high enough to make them matter, to make them fit. They're not a high priority. They're important. But it feels as though they can be neglected with less negative impact than other things she's not willing to neglect, like her spouse, her kids, her job. Should she neglect those things to make room for exercise and healthy eating choices? Hell no. She's right. She's right to prioritize those things. She's right to make sure that she is giving effort to those things. Regardless of what's going on around her, she is giving effort to those things. And she's doing it. She's committed to those things. She just needs to also commit to herself. Whenever she's given up exercise and healthy eating, what is she actually giving up? She's not giving up exercise and healthy eating as if they're, entities away from us. Like, she threw away her favorite chair. Exercise and healthy eating isn't a chair. It's you. It's you. That shoulder problem that doesn't ever seem to go away. It's only going to get worse. your knees aren't that super strong, and sometimes when you have to bend over, it takes a little bit of minute, like a little bit of time, a little bit of effort to get back up. That's only going to get worse. You're tired in the morning. You're tired throughout the day. You're tired at night. That's only going to get worse. One of the reasons why we often think we can't do it all is because what we believe is what is needed. So when you say, like, well, I don't have time to exercise, your mind might be thinking that exercise is 1 hour workouts at a gym. And you're like, I don't have time to drive to the gym. I don't have time to drive home from the gym. I don't have time to be at the gym. I don't have time for gym. I can't have any gym in my life. But we can do 10-minute workouts at home, even if it's just 3 times a week. What do we think it takes when you think of, like, eating healthy? You have to eat quinoa and kale and, free-range grilled chicken breast every meal. No, hell no. Quinoa's gross. But you just need calories. You just need a calorie maintenance level, and you need some maintenance level of protein so you don't continually feel worse as you're trying to navigate this craziness. It doesn't take much. Just 10 minutes a day, and not even every damn day, just 3 days a week. And knowing how to make better food choices. And if you make better food choices, you'll have the energy to find those 10 minutes a day to actually do some bodyweight stuff. Right now, if I told you 10 minutes of bodyweight exercises, you'd tell me I was absolutely insane, and you're going to go sit on the couch and watch Netflix for 2 hours. Why? Because we just don't have any freaking energy. You don't have any energy. Yeah, you know that you have the 10 minutes. You waste more than 10 minutes doing a lot of other things that are not as significant. You just don't have the energy for it. You're freaking tired. You're mentally drained. There's too many damn things in your mind. But if we make better food choices, we'll have more energy. If we take that 10 minutes a day, even just a couple days a week, you'll be amazed at what taking time just for yourself can do. Set a timer for 10 minutes. Play a song on your phone. Put on like some kind of little playlist. And move. You would be amazed how much better you feel physically, emotionally, mentally. Now, what do? You're like, I don't know what to do during that time. Podcast 266 is a training podcast titled Bodyweight Training. Check that out. It'll tell you exactly what to do for those 10 minutes. Make better choices at the meals you already eat and with the foods you already have available to you. But you're like, well, I don't know how to make better choices. I don't know what's the right food to eat. Podcast 1368 is a nutrition podcast titled How to Choose the Right Foods. So when you're overwhelmed, when you're tempted to discard your own health because it doesn't have an immediate negative impact, not one that you can feel right away, you don't have to do that. When you're searching for a more meaningful life, an easier life, but you can't seem to find it, well, the way you're looking for it, by trying to do less and avoid challenging things, you're not going to find it. So what can we do? Understand that time is not the focus. Focus on what you do and how efficiently you do it. And don't run away from challenges to the status quo, to your current life. Your current life will keep you where you currently are. If you want something new from your life, it has to come from you. The amount of time we have for things is consistent. It can never be changed. What actually changes is what we decide to do with our time. I hope you decide to do as much as you possibly can, and you continue to pursue a forward balance, meaning that it's something that you feel overwhelmed only some of the times. But something that pushes you to be a better person, maybe not in character, although, we all could use probably a little character development, myself included. I don't mean it that way in a sense, but just achieving more things, like feeling more in control of things, just feeling more like you own your life. That's going to come in waves, but I hope your waves are building you. I hope you can look back 6 months and say, woof, I'm glad I'm not still there. And you get to do that every 6 months for the rest of your life. It's not easy. It's not meant to be. You're never going to feel like you have enough time. You're not meant to. Stop looking for easy. Stop looking for more time. Okay? Just accept that that's part of it. If you want a meaningful, purposeful life, you're going to feel frazzled from time to time. Just take a breath. Look at what you're doing and see if I could do it, more efficiently. Can I do this a little better? Can I do that a little better? Maybe I just need to stop in the bathroom after peeing for 3 minutes, close my eyes, and just breathe. Set a timer on your phone for 3 minutes. I've literally done this because life is overwhelming at times. Just turned off the lights in the bathroom, close my eyes, I set a 3-minute timer, and I just stand there for 3 minutes and breathe. You'd be amazed how much better you feel, even after just 3 minutes. Just take a breath. Check in on yourself every once in a while. It doesn't take Herculean efforts to stay physically active and to eat healthy. Okay? So set a 10-minute timer. Try to move around some. Do it a couple times a week. Podcast 266, training podcast titled Bodyweight Training, will give you some ideas. When it comes to nutrition, just make better choices with the meals you already eat and the foods you already have available to you. How do you know how to make better choices? Podcast 1368, Nutrition, How to Choose the Right Foods. I wish you the best of luck. I understand that everybody's going to feel overwhelmed. I hope you also understand that that's probably never going to go away. You just need to learn how to manage it without losing as much of your sanity along the way. If you need anything, I'm always here and I'm always happy to help. I appreciate you listening. I hope you always get something from these podcasts that helps you live a healthier and happier life. Well, if you like today's podcast or podcasts in general, please consider sharing it. The more people we share it with, the more people can help. You can share it on social media, even just a conversation with a friend. I appreciate anybody that does share the podcast. That way we can just help reach more people and help more people, and that's the whole point of this. Thank you to the patrons of the podcast, people who financially support the podcast. The podcast is well over $1,000 a year. I give an hour to it every day. I really appreciate the financial help, so that way it makes at least somewhat more business sense to do this. I just love doing it, and it's part of my purpose. So, whatever it costs me, I'm going to try to always make it work. But I appreciate people who can donate just because it helps make it make more sense. If you want to give any donations, we have it available on our website at www.brutalirongym.com. There's an option there for one-time donation, monthly donation, yearly donation, even like $5 a month. It all adds up, so I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Also, if you like the information we share in our podcast, you can find more from us on our social media channels on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube under the name Brutal Iron Gym. If you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, anything you want to know, let us know at our email at brutalirongym@gmail.com. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.